term for the cow herd. Go refers cows. Palaka is the leader or the one who manages them. Palaka. So the person who manages the cows are called the cowherd or the Gopālaka in Pali. Now this is the greater discourse in the sense that there are two discourses under the same heading, Gopālaka. One is called Chula Gopālaka, the other is the Mahā Gopālaka Sutta. The Buddha, taking the same simile of the character of a cowherd, he tries to explain the Dhamma. That is the duty of the Buddha. Buddha will always use similes, illustrations, examples, which are familiar in the day-to-day life of his listeners. Cows were one of the main income or source of living at the time in India. Even the Buddha's clan was called Gotama. Gotama clan, related to the cows. Even today in India, the cows are considered somewhat sacred. It is because of the cow or the ox is the vehicle of one of the major gods, who is called the Shiva. God Shiva's vehicle is cow or an ox, white ox. So they are considered sacred. Moreover, if somebody has a cow, he can continue his life without much troubles. A cow is a source of income for many. Right? So Buddha, using the simile of the one of a very common job, or one of the very important job, was looking after the cows. So here in this sutta, Buddha tries to show 11 qualities of a good cowherd. A cowherd who knows his job very well must have these qualities. Otherwise, he cannot do his job properly. He will not get the results or the benefit out of his profession. So taking these qualities of a cowherd, Buddha inferred them to the practice. How a practice of a monk should happen so that he will achieve or he will get the result, which is the Nibbana, which is the ultimate goal of all the monastics, getting rid of suffering. So taking the simile of the qualities or virtues or the qualifications of a cowherd, Buddha tries to explain the qualities of a practitioner who is on the right track to Nibbana. So let's try to explain this sutta, remembering this basic idea of this sutta. So while the Buddha was living in Savatthi in Jeta's Grove, Anathapindika's park. Now there is no particular reason for this sutta to explain, to teach. It is maybe one of his normal talks, right? Buddha says, because when a cowherd possesses 11 factors, he is incapable of keeping or rearing the herd of cattle. What 11? Here a cowherd has no knowledge of form. Knowledge of form. Form, the Pali word is rupa. Has no knowledge of form. That means has no knowledge of the certain stages of the form. No knowledge. Now this is the negative side first. Yeah? Then he will go to the positive side. Yeah. So he has no knowledge of the stages of the form or the nature of the form. Second, he is unskilled in characteristics. He fails to pick out flies' eggs. He fails to dress wounds. He fails to smoke out the sheds. Smoke out the sheds, because those sheds are made out of clay. Yeah, made out of mud bricks. Yeah. When somebody builds such a shed, such a hut, they usually burn fire inside the hut so that the mud will be dried and all those small bugs and insects will get out of the place. Yeah, that is how they make it suitable for living. Yeah. He does not know the ford. You know the ford? The ford is where a suitable place to go across a river, where the river is not so deep, where sandy fords are there so you can walk and go across the river. So he does not know the ford. He does not know what it is to have drunk. Right? He does not know the road. He is unskilled in pastures. He melts dry. And he shows no extra veneration to those bulls who are fathers and leaders of the herd. When a cowherd possesses these 11 factors, he is incapable of keeping or rearing a herd of cattle. Right? He is not suitable to lead the cattle, to take care of the cattle. So too bhikkhus, when a bhikkhu possesses 11 qualities, like this unskilled cowherd, if a bhikkhu is having these qualities, he is incapable of growth, increase, and fulfillment in this Dhamma and discipline. He is also not capable of fulfilling his wish. In the same manner, he doesn't know the form. Now Buddha explains one by one these 11 factors. In the negative side first, right? But it is the same thing. So we go one by one. How has a bhikkhu no knowledge of form? Here a bhikkhu does not understand as it actually is thus, and the material form derived from the four great elements. Now you see, the form consists of four great elements, and the material form derived from the four great elements. Material form derived from the four great elements. What are the four great elements? Mahabhutas. Pali, it is called Mahabhutas, right? They are Patavi, that is solidity, Apo, cohesion or fluidity, Tejo, heat or the fire or the cold. These all belong to the Tejo. Then comes the Vayu, the wind or the motion, right? Now these elements are called the four basic elements, right? Four basic elements. Out of these four basic elements, there are another 24 elements derived out or exists depending upon. We call them in Pali Upadaya Rupa. Upadaya Rupa. Have you heard Upadana? Upadana is grasping. Huh? Here Upadaya, that means depending upon or derived from these four basic elements. There are 24 another elements are existing. All these are together called the form, right? It is not to take this form as a whole, but to take separately, disintegrate, separate, divide. Go to the subtlemost core of the physical phenomena. Then you will understand this body is nothing but continuous process of the elements. The elements are continuously processing, going on. Like our consciousness itself, consciousness is not something existing. Consciousness is nothing but continuous process of chittas, one after the other. Chittas arise within us. This continuous process as a whole we call consciousness, but there is nothing called consciousness is there. In the same manner, there is nothing called a body is there. The body is nothing but the collection of these four elements and the elements based upon those four elements, altogether 28. 28 rupas, 28 forms are there. Basic 4 and 24 upadayas, that means 24 derived upon those four elements. These 28 elements existing, producing, dying, moment to moment, moment to moment. How fast our body arise and vanish. As to the Buddha, at the speed of this sound, or at the speed of a lightning appear in the sky, at the speed of a blink of an eye, these are all similar. Speed is there. A similar speed is there. At the speed of these things we know, at that speed, this body, the elements in this body arise, exist, vanish. That triple action or the triple situations happen during that speed of a blink of an eye, appearing of a lightning, or at the sound of, or at the speed of a snap of fingers, snapping of a finger. Understanding that is the first one for a bhikkhu to get rid of grasping, to get rid of attachment. This is the step. Knowledge of form. Because this is the strongest attachment. Attachment to the form is the strongest attachment. Yeah. All our suffering in the world happened with what? With the arising of this form. With the arising of the body, or with the birth. Our suffering started. That is why Buddha says in the Dhamma Sutta, the classification of suffering, he starts with what? Jatipi dukkha. Birth is suffering. All the suffering, you know, you name any suffering, all the suffering started arising after the birth, not before that, right? It is based on birth. It is based on this form. Since we got a body, the suffering is there. If there is no body, no suffering exists. So understanding the form or the body, the rupa, not as a whole, but as a continuity of elements. Continuity of elements. Then you will be not attached. Now that is what Buddha says here, that how has a bhikkhu no knowledge of form? What is the knowledge of form according to the Buddha? Here a bhikkhu does not understand as it actually is, thus all material form, whatever kind, consists of the four great elements, and the material form derived from the four great elements. And the material form? What is this material form? The rest of the 24 rupas, 24 elements. This is the consistency of this material form. Four great elements and 24 derived elements. So if somebody does not know as it actually is, he does not know the form. He does not know the form. That is how a bhikkhu has no knowledge of form. Understand this? Then he goes, how is a bhikkhu unskilled in characteristics? Here a bhikkhu does not understand as it actually is. Thus, a fool is characterized by his actions. A wise man is characterized by his actions, not his words, right? Not his appearance, not his birth, not his social status, not his education. Action. Actions speak louder. Our actions are who we are. With our actions, everybody understands who we really are, right? Because actions are very genuine than the words. Words can be very cunning. There are thousands of people throughout this history, human history, deceived millions with their words. Adolf Hitler. I always take this example because that is the near past. Germans are one of the nations who have a higher IQ level. But anyway, these Germans who are considered to be higher in the IQ level were deceived by this politician, this cunning man. Yeah. So you can imagine how effectful or how much effective of a words of a person. People tend to believe. People who are good at speaking or who has oratory skills, people tend to believe as wise. Right? They just good at talking. But people, they keep faith on the words than action. But Buddha many a times very clearly said what? Actions are more important than words. Tathagata. One of the Buddha's qualities is what? Yatha vadi tatha kari. Yatha kari tatha vadi. He does as he speaks. He walks what he says. He talks what he walks. He talks what he does. Nothing else. So his life and what he talks is just the same. Yeah. So this is the difference. So characteristics, or especially the person who is a fool in the sense we have to understand in the Buddhist sense. Fool doesn't mean ignorant or uneducated. Fool means who does not understand the truth in a one way. And also fool means who does wrong while knowing it is wrong. He knows it, but he still does it. If you don't know and you do it, it is something excusable. Right? But if you know it, but still you do it. Yeah. If you are really fast asleep, you are excusable. But if you are sleeping, pretending to be asleep, while you are awake, nobody can wake you up. Only the people who are really asleep can be awakened. But not the one who is pretending to be asleep, right? You cannot wake him up. You cannot wake him up. Yeah. People who knows this is wrong are still doing it. These are the fools. A fool is characterized by his actions. I think because mainly this was said for the reason that those days Brahmins were considered as the highest caste, then comes the kings, then comes the merchants, then comes the workers. By birth they were considered noble or ignoble. By birth they were considered to be worshipped or to be rejected. By birth. That's why Buddha many places says what? Na chaccha vasalo hoti, na chaccha hoti brahmano. By birth no one become a vasala, that means lower caste, or brahman, highest class. Kammana vasalo hoti, kammana hoti brahmano. By action, one becomes a lower caste. By action, one becomes a noble class. Action. So here Buddha says what? A fool is characterized by his action. If you observe, you can understand whether he is a fool or not by his action. A wise man is characterized by his action. Wise man is same. He is also understood, recognized by his actions. That is how a bhikkhu is unskilled in characteristics. If a bhikkhu doesn't understand this, he is unskilled in characteristics. he cannot be a good teacher. Yeah. He cannot guide us. He cannot help us if that bhikkhu is incapable of or non-capable of understanding the character of the people. Yeah. That's why when you go to a meditation master sometimes, he will take some time to guide you. He has to understand you first. Not by listening to your words. Words are very cunning. Words coming out of mouth. Action are coming out of heart. Words are cunning because mind is cunning. Mind is always deceiving. When you go to a psychiatrist, if you ever go there, I don't know here, but normally I have never been also. So I have heard this. When you go to a psychiatrist, you are supposed to lie on a couch, close your eyes and talk. Right? The psychiatrist is sitting behind, hidden. Everything you say is being recorded. Yeah. But still the psychiatrist doesn't believe what you say. He says what? Okay, forget about what you are talking now. In the morning when you wake up, you write all the dreams you saw at night. The dreams you saw. Yeah. Because in your wakefulness, while you are awake, whatever you say, mind is involved. But in your dreams, whatever you dream, that is genuine. You see, he doesn't believe your words when you are awake, but he believes your dreams when you are asleep. Words can be very cunning and deceiving. Even they deceive us because our mind deceives us. Words deceive. That's why Buddha is not a believer of words. He is a believer of actions. So his followers, a bhikkhu, must be capable of understanding the characteristics of the people by their actions. That is the second one. Next one. How does a bhikkhu fail to pick out flies' eggs? You know them, what are they, right? You know they are. Here, when a thought of sensual desire has arisen, a bhikkhu tolerates it. He does not abandon it, remove it, do away with it, and annihilate it. When a thought of ill will has arisen, cruelty, when evil, unwholesome states have arisen, thoughts of sensual pleasures, thoughts of hatred, thought of ill will, when these thoughts arise in such a person, he does not remove it. He tolerates them. He let them be. He let them be there. He doesn't try to get rid of it. Buddha compares it like what? Like a cowherd is not removing the flies' eggs. These flies' eggs one day will even kill the cow, right? Yeah, they become maggots and they destroy the cow's life. So this is not a skillful cowherd who let the flies' eggs to be on the cows. He compares this to the character of a monk who, when the thoughts of sensual pleasure arise, he does not try to get rid of them. He does not try to remove them. He just let them be there. Then what happened? They grow up, they develop, they become more and more powerful. Yeah. When the thoughts of ill will arise, still he doesn't remove them. Maybe he might be feeding them more, feeding more and more hatred, giving more and more power to that hatred. So likewise, the states of unwholesomeness arises in a monk. If that monk do not remove them, abandon them, do away with them, or annihilate them, that monk is like that cowherd who did not remove the flies' eggs. Flies' eggs will become maggots and destroy the cow one day. And these thoughts of unwholesome will destroy that monk, or will stop him getting to the Nibbana, will not help him to get rid of the defilements. That is the third quality of an unskillful cowherd. How does a bhikkhu fail to dress wounds? Dress wounds. Here, on seeing a form with the eye, a bhikkhu grasps at its signs and features. Even though when he leaves the eye faculty unguarded, evil, unwholesome states of covetousness and grief might invade him, he does not practice the way of its restraint. He does not guard the eye faculty. He does not undertake the restraint of the eye faculty. Yeah. On seeing a form with the eye, he grasps at its signs and features. When he hears some sound, he grasps the sign and features of the sound. That means whether it's a sweet, melodious sound or a unfriendly, disturbing sound, he grasps the signs and features. But the teaching of the Buddha is what? Sute sutamatta. If you hear something, it is just a hearing. Whether it is good or bad, doesn't matter. You are not rejecting that sound. How can you reject the sound? We are not like elephants. We cannot close our ears. The sound comes in. Yeah. We are not supposed to keep our eyes closed all the time. We have to open our eyes. Appearances come in front of us. Right? So, dassane dassanamattam. If you see something, that is just seeing. Don't go for the details. Don't go for beauty or non-beauty. You become a mirror. When you go in front of a mirror, mirror never judge you. It is just reflected upon. Once you get out of the mirror, then also mirror will never hold on to you, right? Mirror let you go. Mirror let you go. A Japanese story, Zen story. 2 monks walking somewhere to their temple. They had to cross the river, no bridge. At the banks of the river, there was a Japanese woman, girl, wearing a kimono, She cannot go across the river because the water level is high, and she is wearing a kimono. When you have a kimono, you cannot walk. Kimono. So this monk, the one who is the elder one, come here, sister, and he took her to his shoulders like a sack of rice or something, and just went to the other side. kept her there, and he continued. When he reached the temple, the younger monks asking him, "What did you do? It was not becoming for a monk. It was not suitable for a monk to do that." Is it? But Venerable, I kept the lady there. You brought her here. When I kept her from my shoulders to the ground, I kept her there. But I left her there. But you brought her to the temple. Who made the biggest mistake? I did not catch her with my mind. You caught her with your mind. Dassani dassanamatta, sute sutamatta, vipassana. So the Zen Buddhism and vipassana is, you can see similarities. All these labels are labels, just labels. When you remove the labels, remove the cultures, you can find the gist of Dhamma is same, similar. Yeah. So that's what Buddha says. Dressing the wound. It is as if the outside world, which comes into us through our five senses, are wounding us all the time, injuring us all the time. Yeah? So that we will always be unhealthy. We will always be sick. Yeah? A sick person is always asking for more medicine, more medicine. He is always a good customer to the samsara. He has to come back again and again because he is sick. He is getting wounded all the time. Why he is getting wounded all the time? Because when he sees something, he look at the features, signs. Then he has to grasp or reject, right? Either to grasp or to reject. Both happens because of the signs and features. If you just look at it as just a seeing, like the mirror, non-judgmental, reflection, mirroring, it is just a mirroring. So Buddha says, if a monk, on seeing a form with the eye, grasp at its signs and features, even though when he leaves thy faculty unguarded, now this is unguarded thy faculty, evil unwholesome states of covetousness and grief might invade him. What is happening when in this manner? Unwholesome states of covetousness and grief. Covetousness, you know what? Yeah? It is the extreme form of attachment, right? It is the extreme form of lobha, tanha, covetousness. And when you are not fulfilled, what you desire? Grief. All our griefs are based on what? When our wishes are unfulfilled, it is grief. When our expectations are not fulfilling, when we are frustrated, grief. Unwholesome status of covetousness and grief might invade him. So can he stop when he start observing things in their signs and features? Can he stop covetousness and grief? No way. They will invade. See the word. They are not just coming into you, they are invading you. Who invades normally? Enemies invade. In the Buddha's eyes, these are enemies. Covetousness, grief, Mara Sami. He does not practice the way of its restraint. He does not control them. He does not guard thy faculty. He does not undertake the restraint of thy faculty. In the same way, ear faculty, nose, tongue, the body, as well as the mind. These 6 senses, not guarded, not controlled, grasping at the signs and features, then the covetousness and grief will invade him and destroy him, torture him. That is the fourth wrong quality. Next one is, how does he fail to smoke out the sheds? Smoke out the sheds. Here a bhikkhu does not teach others in detail the Dhamma as he learned it and mastered it. You see, once you learn the Dhamma, you have to smoke them. It is not smoke something, no. You must share. It is not just to keep with you. Smoke. Share with others. Share with others. That is how the Dhamma lasted so far. If our ancestors were to be stingy, not sharing their treasures, their understandings, what they learned through writing, through teaching, with all sorts of methods. If they were not sharing, the Dhamma would have died by now. We would not get this beautiful Dhamma. By our generations, it is gone. 26 centuries gone by. That means at least 30 generations are gone, 30, 35 generations gone. But still the Dhamma is flourishing. Because they were very generous. They were very generous in sharing. Yeah. It is not just Dhamma speakers' duty, it is the followers of all the Buddha's duty. To share what you learnt, what you have seen, what you have been educated with the others. So, if a monk is not doing that, Buddha says what? Here a bhikkhu does not teach others in detail the Dhamma as he has learnt and mastered it. That is how a bhikkhu fails to smoke out the sheds. That's a failure. That's a failure. Next one. How does a bhikkhu not know the ford? Not know the ford. That means the ford is the place where you can go to the other shore, go to the other bank of the river without much troubles. If you are a good swimmer, you can go to the other side of the river from anywhere. But if you know the ford, it will be easier. It will be troubleless, less trouble. Now Buddha says what? A bhikkhu does not go from time to time to those bhikkhus who have learnt much, who are well versed in the tradition, who maintain the Dhamma, the discipline and the codes. He does not enquire and ask questions of them. Thus, how is this, Venerable Sir? What is the meaning of this? These venerable ones do not reveal to him what he has not been revealed, do not clarify what is not clear, or remove his doubts about the numerous things that give rise to doubt. That is how a bhikkhu does not know the ford. Both way. If you do not go and ask a senior, well versed, well educated, well learnt, well practiced monk, the questions, if you are not asking, they won't come and give you answer, right? You have to ask first. This is the difference in the Theravada Buddhism. That is why other sects of Buddhism say what? We are not so compassionate. Our compassion is little, they say. Yeah? The idea is, the Arahants who have learned and practiced and got the enlightenment, are they not having compassion? Are they without compassion? They have. They have compassion. Right? But their compassion is in the both way. If you are not willing to jump and swim to the next shore, they will not come and push you down to the river. They will give you a ability, give you a capability or the willingness. They will give the respect to your willingness or non-willingness to swim to the next shore. If you are not willing, they will not push you into the river. But if you are willing to learn this technique, to work hard, they will guide you, they will help you. Why not? But you have to show first your willingness to practice. Now, how can you say that Arahant doesn't have the compassion? He has the compassion. At the same time, he respects your privacy. He respects your ability. Yeah? Those people who say that, I will not go to Nibbana until you go to Nibbana, they will never go to Nibbana. There will be a big queue at the door of the Nibbana because nobody is going there. Everybody is saying others to go. You go, you go, you go. But nobody is going there. Yeah. But in Theravada Buddhism, Buddha says what? You practice, you work hard, get rid of this mud of samsaric journey. Get rid of this suffering first. Then there's a possibility that you can help and you can support. Yeah? Otherwise, how can you support? How can you help while you are in the mud? While you are in the suffering? How can you help others to get rid of suffering? Impossible, right? You have to get rid of first. Naturally, the one who got rid of suffering has the compassion for the people who are in the suffering. It is like the one who climbed to the top of the mountain knows the suffering of the valley. He knows it. He has the compassion in it. You cannot say that he doesn't have the compassion. He has the utmost compassion because now he has got rid of it. But if you are not willing to get rid of suffering, how can he drag you out of suffering? Because he knows only he can do what he can do. What he can do. What he can do is only to guide you. Nothing else. He cannot do anything else but to guide you. Guide you, guide you. So therefore, though the suffering, though the compassion is there, his ability, his capability is limited. Do you think all the monks joined the Buddha? Became even Sotapanna? I do not think so. There might be. When Buddha passed away, one elderly monk, newly ordained, what did he say? Samuttāmayam Mahā samanena. We are freed from that great monk. He was happy when Buddha passed away. Do you think he is Sotapanna? Can a Sotapanna say such a word? Such words? Now we are free. At last he's gone. As if Buddha is a dictator, something like some dictator or someone. Yeah. In that sense we can find. And in one sutta, there is a sutta, or there was a position given to a monk who is capable of arranging the cushions, seats, according to the seniority in the spiritual life. What is the seniority of the spiritual life? Arahants, Anagamis, Sakadagamis, Sotapannas, and the practitioners, newly ordained. And in the sutta says, in the situation says, this monk knows the monks who are in those status. He knows how to prepare the sitting areas, sleeping areas, without asking them. He knows how to prepare for them. Watching their behaviors, he knows who they really are. And here it says there are a group of monks who were not practicing at all. They were just talking nonsense. They were just talking the things that shouldn't talk. And there was some monks who were bodybuilding, doing exercises and building their muscles. There were. I'm not making the story, it was there. No, so now all those types of monks were there. Devadatta was not before the Buddha or after the Buddha. While the Buddha was living, Devadatta was there. He couldn't get the even Sotapanna. He just got the jhanas, and even jhanas were destroyed. And he had followers, Gopālaka. He had followers, never got into any sainthood. They were in the robes, ordained under the Buddha. Now, can you say that all the people who joined Buddha became or came into the stages of sainthood? No way. Because Buddha is a teacher, a guide who directed the people. Buddha was not a porter to carry people. Just a guide. So that is how smoke out the knowing the ford, that he has to go time to time to the seniors to get the knowledge or get his doubts cleared. Right? The next one is, how does a bhikkhu not know what it is to have drunk? When the Dhamma and discipline proclaimed by the Tathagata is being taught, a bhikkhu does not gain inspiration in the meaning, does not gain inspiration in the Dhamma, does not gain gladness connected with the Dhamma. In short, he does not enjoy the Dhamma. Yeah? Dhamma is considered rasanam aggo, the greatest taste in the world. That means a taste is what? Taste is to taste. Yeah. The Dhamma is to taste, enjoy. Yeah. If you do not enjoy the Dhamma, you cannot last in the Dhamma. Yeah. He's not inspired. He's not transformed. That is to get drunk in Buddhism. To get drunk in Buddhism is to be inspired, to be transformed, and to enjoy this Dhamma. inspiration in the meaning, inspiration in the Dhamma, and gladness connected with the Dhamma. Yeah? Just enjoy the Dhamma. Dhamma is just to enjoy. Remember, just enjoy. When you are enjoying and enjoying, that means you are taking the Dhamma within you. This Dhamma one day will transform you. Change your life. Change your attitudes. It will happen. It will happen for sure. Then, how does a bhikkhu does not know the road? Here a bhikkhu does not know what road can you guess? Noble Eightfold Path. It is the Noble Eightfold Path. He does not know the Eightfold Path as it actually is. That is how a bhikkhu does not know the road. Yeah. How is the bhikkhu unskilled in pastures? Unskilled in pastures. Here a bhikkhu does not understand the four foundations of mindfulness as they actually are. Do you have to remind it? These 5 foundations for mindfulness? No need. Everybody okay with that? Kāya-anupassana, Vedana-anupassana, Chitta-anupassana, Dhamma-anupassana. How does a bhikkhu milk dry? Right? This is happening even today. Yeah, wrong things are easily happened throughout the time. When a faithful householder invite a bhikkhu to take as much as he likes of robes, almswood, resting places and medicinal requisites, the bhikkhu does not know the moderation in accepting. Yeah. This is how a bhikkhu milks dry. That is why Buddha very clearly say what? You have to be like a bee traveling from one flower to another without disturbing the flower nor the fragrance of the flower. Neither the flower nor the fragrance. You have to go your arms round without disturbing the devotees. Salla hukkabutti, simple livelihood. To be happy with what you have. Not looking for more, not looking for extra, but to be happy with what you have. Then you do not disturb the devotee. Otherwise you are not easy to handle. You are not easy to manage. You are not easy to look after. Right? Then of course the devotees will run away when you come. They will close the doors upon your face. Yeah? You will become a burden. How long the devotees can bear a burden? They have their own burdens. You should not become a burden to the devotee. That is the idea. That if you become a burden to the devotees, you are like a person who milk dry the cow. Next one is, how does a bhikkhu show no extra veneration to those elder bhikkhus of long standing who have long gone forth, the fathers and leaders of the Sangha? Here a bhikkhu does not maintain bodily acts of loving kindness, both openly and privately towards the elder bhikkhus. He does not maintain verbal acts of loving kindness towards them, both openly and privately. He does not maintain mental acts of loving kindness towards them, both openly and privately. Yeah, metta, karuna, yeah, verbal actions and mental actions and physical actions with love. Yeah, openly and privately. That is how he showed the veneration to the elders and the leaders of the Sangha. When a bhikkhu possesses these 11 qualities, he is incapable of growth, increase and fulfillment in this Dhamma and discipline. So Buddha says, when a bhikkhu is possessing the negative side of these qualities is incapable, cannot develop. Yeah? In this noble discipline of the Dhamma. So the positive side already, right? No need to explain that one. So Buddha very clearly, using a simile of a good cowherd, Buddha tries to explain the path of the Dhamma, path of the Nibbana, the expectation of his teaching. Right? He always uses very simple examples, the things people know. Yeah? His followers, they were living in the normal society, experiencing all these things. Maybe they have been cowherd themselves. Maybe they have employed cowherds to look after their cows. So they know. From the level of knowing, Buddha brings to the level of spirituality. Then you won't forget. Right? Dhamma is to be taught to remember. To remember very clearly, not to forget. And when you are remembered, when they are working in you, you will be transformed little by little. Okay? Thank you.